paid taxes last year. You paid income tax. You paid payroll tax. Maybe property tax. And you did it because you had to, because everyone does. Except they don't. The top 12 American billionaires currently hold a combined net worth of over $2.7 trillion. In 2026, their collective tax rate on actual wealth growth? Under 4%. Some years, 0. This isn't cheating. This isn't offshore accounts or shell companies. This is 3 words hiding in plain sight inside the US tax code. Buy, borrow, die. A professor named it 30 years ago, and nobody listened. Then ProPublica leaked the IRS files, and suddenly everyone was furious. Today, I'm going to show you the exact mechanic, how it works, why it legal, and what it means for the rest of us. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at a tax bill the same way. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. Your tax software is open, and the number on the screen is bigger than you budgeted for. You made decent money last year. You worked hard for every cent of it. And now you owe 14, maybe 16% of it back before April. Meanwhile, you're watching headlines about a tech founder who made $40 billion in unrealized gains last year. His tax bill, $350 million. That percent. And here's the brutal part, he didn't break a single rule. He used a strategy that's been sitting in the open for over a century. Your brain wants to call this unfair, and it is. But calling it unfair doesn't explain how it works. And not understanding how it works means you can never close the gap. So today we're going to do something different. We're not going to vent about wealth inequality. We're going to study it, like it. As a game, and you just found the rulebook. Stage 1. There's a myth that gets repeated every election cycle. The myth says, the rich pay their fair share, look at the top 1% paying 40% of federal income taxes. And technically that number is real, but it's also a mathematically laundered lie. Here. What that stat doesn't tell you. The top 1% hold 44% of all unrealized capital gains in America. That's $21 trillion of wealth sitting completely outside the income tax system. Because in the United States, you only pay tax on gains you realize, meaning gains from assets you actually sell. If your net worth goes up by $50 million this year but you sell nothing, the IRS sees nothing. This isn't a loophole. It's not an accident. It's as how the code was written in 1913. A Supreme Court case from 1920 called Eisner v. Macomber locked it in. It ruled that unrealized gains are not income. Over 100 years later, that ruling still stands, and every billionaire in America has built their entire tax strategy around it. Professor Edward McCaffrey at USC gave the strategy a name back in 1994. Stage 2. The first word is buy. Wealthy individuals don. T-chase dividend stocks or interest-bearing savings accounts. They buy appreciating assets. Growth stocks, private equity, commercial real estate, stakes in early-stage companies. Assets that grow in value over decades without generating taxable income along the way. Every year that passes, their net worth climbs, and the tax bill stays at 0. The second word is borrow. Here's where the mechanics get genuinely wild. You can't pay rent with unrealized stock gains. So instead of selling, they go to a private bank and use their portfolio as collateral. The bank gives them a line of credit. A securities-based loan at rates well below what a mortgage costs. As of mid-2026, high net worth clients at major private banks can access these loans at spreads of 2 to 5% above benchmark rates. The loan lands in their account as cash. The government does not tax borrowed money. It's not income. They buy houses, cars, fund new businesses, travel the world, all on borrowed, untaxed cash. Meanwhile, the portfolio they borrowed against keeps compounding. The third word is die. When the person passes away, their heirs inherit the assets. But here's the tax code's most jaw-dropping gift to inherited wealth. It's called stepped-up basis. Under current federal law, which was actually made more generous by the One Big Beautiful Bill passed in July 2025 heirs, receive assets at the current market value at time of death. All the decades of accumulated capital gains simply disappear for tax purposes. Heirs sell the assets, pay off the loans, keep the difference, and owe zero capital gains tax. The 2025 law also raised the federal estate tax exemption to $15 million per person. That means estates under $15 million for a couple that's $30 million owe no estate tax at all. The tax liability on a lifetime of compound wealth growth erased. And the cycle starts again with the next generation. Stage 3. Meet Rafa. He is 32 now, and he makes $92,000 a year as a product manager in Austin. He maxes his 401k, puts some money in an index fund, pays his taxes on time every April. Rafa does everything right by the playbook most people are handed. Now, meet his neighbor, Let. Call her Clara. Clara's net worth is $12 million. She founded a software company, sold it at 43, and put the proceeds into a diversified portfolio. Clara hasn't drawn a salary in 3 years. She lives on loans backed by her portfolio. Last year, Rafa paid roughly 19% of his salary in federal income tax. Clara paid less than 1% of her wealth growth. Same country, same year, completely different game. Stage 4. Let's run the brutal math on Clara's situation so you feel exactly what's happening. She starts with $12 million invested in a growth-oriented portfolio. At a conservative 7% annual return, slightly below the S&P 500's long-run average, her portfolio hits $24 million in roughly 10 years. That's $12 million in gains she has never once paid tax on. If she sold everything today, she'd face a federal long-term capital gains rate of 20%. Add the net investment income tax at 3.8% and state capital gains tax depending on where she lives. Total potential bill, conservatively $3 million. Instead, Clara walks into her private bank and borrows $8 million against the portfolio at a rate of roughly 5% annually. That's $400,000 in annual interest. Compare that to the $3 million she would have paid in taxes by selling. Even after 7.5 years of interest payments, she still comes out ahead. And while she's paying that interest, the portfolio is still growing. A $24 million portfolio at 7% generates about $1.68 million per year in gains. She's paying $400,000 in interest and earning $1.68 million in portfolio growth. Net gain per year, $1.28 million, untaxed, unrealized, untouchable. The Federal Reserve found that as of 2024, securities-based loans in America totaled about $138 billion. That number has almost certainly grown since. This isn't a rare edge case. This is a massive financial industry built specifically for this purpose. And here's the opportunity cost calculation that should shake you. Rafa, over the same 10 years, invests $800 a month after taxes. At the same 7% return, he ends up with about $138,000. Clara ends up with $30+ million. Same decade, same market, wildly different outcomes, not because of intelligence, not because of effort, because of the structure they started with. Stage 5. There's a reason this feels so impossible to fix, and it's not just political, it's psychological. Your brain is running survival mode. When you're focused on making rent or paying down a credit card, your cortisol is high. High cortisol makes you short-term focused by design. It deports. Biology, not failure. The first $1,000 you save is genuinely harder than the next 10,000. Not because of math, because your nervous system hasn't, but learned to feel safe yet. The shift from survival mode to wealth-building mode happens at a threshold. Research consistently shows it's somewhere around 3 to 6 months of living expenses in liquid savings. That's when the stress chemistry starts to change. That's when you can start thinking in years instead of weeks. Now, can you run a full buy, borrow, die strategy on a normal salary? No. Let's be real, you need serious assets to access securities-based lending at scale. But you can steal the philosophy. Stop treating every asset you own as something to sell when you need cash. Build a boring system. Automate your investments, build your emergency buffer, then let compound growth run for decades. When you need liquidity later in life, Explore borrowing against assets before liquidating them. The wealthy don't have a secret genius. They have a system that runs whether they paying attention or not. Freedom isn't the car in the driveway or the watch on your wrist. Real wealth is quiet. It's the number in an account that means you could stop and everything would still be fine. That's what they're protecting with these strategies. That's what you reworking toward. So here's what we know. The ultra-wealthy are not smarter than you. They are playing a different version of the game, one built on 3 words most people never heard of. Buy, borrow, die. It's legal. It's been legal for over a century. And it will likely stay legal for a while longer. The wealthiest 1% hold 44% of all unrealized capital gains in this country. That's $21 trillion the IRS may never touch. Whether you think that's fine or infuriating, understanding it changes how you build. If this opened your eyes today, hit subscribe and join the channel. This is not a space for get-rich-quick myths. It is a space for the actual game. The rules most people never get taught. And next week, we're going inside the next layer. Because the buy, borrow, die strategy has a close cousin that's even less talked about. It's called the Grantor Retained Annuity Trust, and how some of the wealthiest families in the world transfer billions to their children with almost zero estate tax. Thanks for watching our video. Stay tuned with us.